Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Solomon Wilcots, Steve Palazzolo here. We're here to talk about Lamar Jackson and the historic performance he's putting on in 2019. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more right after this.
How's our financial plan coming?
Super! Chris, any advice?
With Western and Southern, preparing for your financial future can be easier than you think. Favorite receiver?
Huh?
To get started, visit westernsouthern.com.
And Steve, Lamar Jackson, I mean, what he did in Monday night, he just keeps adding to this MVP resume. What are you seeing and what does the numbers show? Because I think we're seeing some things that we've never seen before.
So I think the biggest thing, you can see the athleticism and all that stuff. That's always been there, right?
That's right.
The biggest improvement this year is Lamar Jackson's accuracy. I mean, it's making us rethink the whole concept that you can't teach accuracy because he has officially made so far the biggest jump in adjusted completion percentage since we've started doing this back in 2006. And that's our number that essentially says, how many passes did you complete? We'll give you credit for the drops. We'll take out times when you're hit while throwing. We'll take out the spikes, take away the throwaways. Lamar Jackson's up over 10% in adjusted completion percentage. So he's always had that dynamic running ability. Now he's able to just pick defenses apart with traditional passing concepts, which he's always run, he's always flashed, but the consistency has been incredible.
To put this into context, at the end of the 2018 season, let's face it, he and the Baltimore Ravens were booed off the field, in Baltimore after losing a playoff game to the LA Chargers because he could not even complete a pass. He looked bewildered, he looked confused, and we didn't know if he can take the necessary steps in 2019 to be able to lead this team. Not only has he taken the necessary steps, he's doing something that maybe many of us didn't think he could do, and that's making plays inside the pocket. Right now, he's PFF's highest graded quarterback at performing inside the pocket. And so that's a quantum leap to what we saw at the end of last year.
Yeah, and Lamar's unique because I don't think he's always wanted to win from the pocket.
That's
he's
right.
always tried. He is not a scrambler. If people are telling you that he's one read and run or he doesn't want to go through progressions, it is absolutely not the case. And we said this coming out at Louisville. He loved getting to his second read. He loved sitting in the pocket. Yeah. He's a lot like Cam Newton. They're not looking to run. They're looking to pass first. But when they do run, they're special. And when Lamar is running, it's usually in the designed run game. It's usually trickeration in the backfield, and he's changing the arithmetic in the box, essentially, because you just can't account for him. So it's the designed running game. But when he chooses to pass, he does go through his progressions. But the difference between last year and this year is he's throwing accurately. Like I said, he would flash, he'd throw some NFL passes, and if you loved Lamar a year ago, you'd say, hey, there it is. It's in there. But now he's doing it more consistently game after game.
And that's maybe where he's setting himself apart. When we talk about we haven't seen this before, there's been other quarterbacks with similar ability that hasn't quite performed at this level, particularly inside of the pocket. We're talking about guys like Michael Vick, guys like Colin Kaepernick, who played in Greg Roman's offense with the San Francisco 49ers. Not even the great Cam Newton, who has been an MVP, who did score 50 touchdowns in a single season, both rushing and passing. I don't know that he was ever this efficient performing inside the pocket. I think he has taken the athleticism and the ability to play from the pocket, much like what Steve Young often talks about, wanting to see quarterbacks with this ability do. He put the work in, and now I think he's performing maybe at a higher level than any of those other mobile quarterbacks I just mentioned.
Yeah, and I think the guys that you mentioned before, too, with Michael Vick, and I mentioned this when Lamar came out, I said, if you read a headline that says, yeah, we're going to run the West Coast offense with Lamar Jackson, we're going to run a traditional offense, then you're in trouble.
That's right.
And that's what happened with Vick. It was like they said, oh, we're going to run the West Coast offense. We're going to make him Joe Montana, which was not the right move. They weren't tapping into his athleticism. With Kaepernick, he never became a well-developed passer to all levels. He always had a cannon, never really had the touch or the short area accuracy. With RG3, his second year, he wanted to become a pocket passer. He wanted to play the game like Kirk Cousins instead of playing the way he was successful in 2012. So there's all these different situations. The Ravens have done a great job of working around Lamar's skill set. That's the design run game, that's play action, and that's working with what he does extremely well.
Now, the ultimate question. Does he deserve a mention for MVP? And we're talking about playing at a level where Russell Wilson, this is rarefied air for a mobile, young, second-year quarterback like Lamar Jackson to even compare him to Russell Wilson, who we all see sort of as the pinnacle in terms of what we're getting at the quarterback position in the National Football League. How does he compare to Russell Wilson, and might he even contend as the league MVP?
Yeah, so I thought as of a few weeks ago, it was clearly Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Lamar has absolutely closed that gap, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's Lamar right now. Just using PFF grades, first off, the MVP has to be a quarterback. That's the most valuable quarterback player in the league.
That's
it almost
right.
has
That's
to be.
right.
So you just look at our quarterback rankings. Russell Wilson, 91.5. Lamar's right behind him at 91. Yeah. Lamar's got the number 4 passing grade, the number 1 rushing grade, and that whole scheme revolves around Lamar Jackson. I got to credit both Lamar and Russell Wilson, because Wilson's working with a scheme that wants to run the ball and put a lot of pressure on him on 3rd and long, and Lamar's running a scheme that's worked around his skill set. He's opening things up for Mark Ingram and for those receivers. So they both are very much in that conversation.
So what if I told you that against man coverage that Lamar Jackson, he actually has a higher PFF passing grade than that of Russell Wilson, and that against man coverage, Russell Wilson has a league-high 16 sacks when facing man-to-man coverage, and Lamar Jackson is operating at a much higher level. Now, Russell Wilson also has the most touchdown passes against man coverage. So there's an even comparison with maybe Lamar Jackson performing slightly better against man-to-man coverage. Against zone coverage, Russell Wilson wins the day. He is functioning at a much higher level against zone coverage. So we're seeing these two guys compete at a tremendously high level. I've got to give the edge to Russell Wilson because he has tremendously more big-time throws with fewer interceptions. Yeah. And to me, that kind of disparity between the high end and the low end, Russell Wilson, he doesn't turn the ball over. And Lamar Jackson is protecting the ball very well himself, but Russell has the edge when we talk about big-time throws versus turnover-worthy plays.
I think Wilson does have the edge. He also has a few more action plays, too. The extra volume is in there compared to Lamar.
That's true.
And, look, I know voters, everybody's emotional, and, there's Twitter, and everybody reacts to the last thing that they saw. And the last thing we saw was Lamar on primetime. The whole world
on Monday
saw
night.
It. Yeah. Russell Wilson didn't have a great statistical game this weekend, but he had almost 100 yards lost just on dropped passes alone. He should have had a 300-yard game with about 3 touchdowns. So he still played extremely well in Philadelphia despite the stat line. I still give Russell Wilson the edge, but I didn't think Lamar would really be in the MVP conversation as of 3 or 4 weeks ago, but he's right in the middle.
And guess what? You can't crown him now. We still have many more games to play. We still have a lot hanging in the balance for the 2019 season. So they're still auditioning for this. I got to go ahead and finish up by asking you about an offense that has been tailored to Lamar Jackson by the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. And what are you seeing there? I mean, this is probably why we've never seen anything like this. We're about to have a quarterback in Lamar Jackson to become the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000 yards. That's real. That could possibly happen in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a really good job. It's a power running game, and then to stop the power running game, you just outnumber them in the box. When Lamar Jackson, though, can be a ball carrier, you can no longer outnumber them. It is then even, he reads an extra defender, and then boom, you have no idea who has the ball. It's Mark Ingram running downhill. He looks like Bo Jackson back in Tecmo Bowl running people over.
Oh, my goodness.
Lamar's got his crazy speed when he keeps the ball, and then after all of that, they got the tight ends running behind the linebackers. They've got the speed receiver like Marquise Brown. It is just a well-balanced offense where everybody has a role, and it all feeds off of Lamar Jackson's ability to run the ball and now throw the ball more accurately than he ever has.
And they did this against a good Rams defense with the likes of Aaron Donald, Corey Littleton, and Jalen Ramsey, good defensive players at every level of the defense. All Lamar Jackson did was take his offense and go right down the field and into the end zone on 6 consecutive possessions for touchdowns. He now has 2 consecutive games with 4 touchdown passes or more. So he's doing things, yes, that we have never seen before in the National Football League by an NFL quarterback. Steve Palazzolo, he's doing things we've never seen before as well. A big brain. I'm just here hanging out. This has been great talking Lamar Jackson, and it is presented by Western and Southern.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.